Thank you. Good evening. My name is Mike Wickers. I'm the mayor of Cottonwood Heights. Today is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, and this is the Cottonwood Heights City Council business meeting. I've asked our Fiscal Services Director, Scott Jurgis, to get us started by leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Scott. So item number 3 on our agenda today is once a month, we allow the council to report to our residents what some of the things that they're doing, some of their priorities. And so we're going to begin today. First, I wanted to excuse Council Member Sean Newell, who is not able to be with us tonight. And I will begin with from District 2, Council Member Suzanne Highland.
I serve on the CH2 committees and the emergency planning committees, and CH2 is just a liaison position with the Cottonwood Heights Recreation and Parks District. The tennis and pickleball courts are being resurfaced, and that's hopefully going to be done very soon. You just have to have 3 consecutive days of 70-degree weather, and that will be at Mount View, at Mill Hollow, at Golden Hills, and the Rec Center pickleball courts, but not Bywater. They don't have funding for that yet. They're anticipating the splash pad, the exciting splash pad will open the Friday before Memorial Day, which will be May 24th. And lots of planning right now for Butlerville Days. They have secured a contract or we will be approving one tonight for the floats. We approved them for the fireworks and for the drone shows. Plans are being made for vendors and for all of the activities, including a pickleball tournament. And then on the Emergency Planning Committee, the Utah Great Shakeout is April 18th, but the city's shakeout is Saturday, April 20th from 9 to noon. And if you're not aware of what you're supposed to do as a citizen, that is, you just put a ribbon out on your mailbox or somewhere where it's visible. And there's 4 colors of ribbons, and then those be counted, and just a simulation of, what we might actually experience if there were a big catastrophe. Green is everything's okay. Yellow, you've got an injury, but we can manage it. Red is we need immediate assistance, and then black for death. And we hope that we don't see those. Well, in an emergency, we hope we don't see those black ribbons. We appreciate our staff and all of our city volunteers. It's a huge, so I should say a small army of volunteers that would have to be rallied to be able to manage an emergency. So we appreciate everybody's contributions towards that. And then the other thing that's really happening with emergency planning is that we're monitoring the snow melt and how and when it flows in the creeks. And so far, everything's looking really good, especially compared to last year when we did so much planning. And so even though we have a high snowpack this year, we expect it to come down without any events.
Thank you, Councilmember Highland. From our District 2, we have Councilmember Matt Holton.
District 1, District 2. What's the difference?
What did I say?
You said 2. It's all right.
Well,
It's fine. It's fine. We're all in the same city. We're all brothers and sisters. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to give a quick update on Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling. Everyone loves trash, right? Or getting rid of trash, at least. So we've got our spring cleanup where you can go on and you can reserve a container to be delivered to your house, which you and your neighbors can then use. So cards are going out. Looks like the 19th is when cards are going to be mailed. The 26th, they'll do a follow-up, May 10th. And then website reservation starts on May 13th and goes, it looks like, all the way through the month of May. I know last year there was some issues where there were so many, a limited amount of bins that could be reserved. And so a lot of people were not able to actually get them in time. So please jump on that as quickly as you can. I know in years past and where I grew up in Salt Lake City, they would come by and you would just put it on the curb and they would just pick it up. So you didn't have to reserve something. I've talked to the folks over at Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling and have asked them if we can look at some other ways that we can do this spring cleanup. I know in the past they used to just put bins in your neighborhood regionally and you could just go and it'd be there for a week at time. Their reason that they give me is staffing issues. They just can't get enough people to keep up with the demand any other way than controlling how many bins they're dropping off. That being said, I said, well, I'm new to this committee. It is what it is. It's already baked for this year. I'd love to work on seeing what we can't do to improve that process, including there's an individual in my neighborhood who they've got to put this bin in your driveway. They will not put it on the street, but the driveway is basically a hill and it's not safe to put that heavy of a bin. And so they were unable to even reserve one, even if it was available. So some things need to be changed to improve this. I'm going to work on that throughout this next year, but for this year, make sure to jump on their website. Just Google Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling. It's on their homepage. You can reserve it. Reservation times start on May 13th. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Holton. From Council District 4, we have Councilmember Ellen Burrell.
Thank you. I have to chime in that it was my hope that I could represent the council on the Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling. So I'm a little envious knowing that our council member Holton, and I'm sure he'll do a fabulous job. He knows so much about so I'll collaborate with him. But I also like the curbside idea because I know that in Sandy, I see this because my son lives there. And what's so great about the curbside is that when you put your unwanted things out on the curbside, and people, not just in our city, but within the area, know that they can come and grab those things. I'm a big believer in the 4 R's: reduce, recycle, reduce, recycle, reuse, and refuse. And so I had to chime in. Well, one of the big things going on in my District 4, it affects all of us throughout Cottonwood Heights, and it also ties in with my council liaison assignment with the Parks, Trails, and Open Space Committee, is the latest development when the Planning Commission approved a 3-lot consolidation of 3 lots at the easterlymost edge of what's called the Golden Hills subdivision, which if any of you hike, you know that that subdivision is up the private road. It's the most easterly edge, and it is located on top of where 2 of our trailheads, one to Deaf Smith's Canyon and one to Little Willow Canyon, emanate from there. So it's causing, quite a stir with residents who are interested in hiking and wanting to make sure that there is a preservation of public access to those beloved trails. And so in this stead, I want to remind everyone that we have a chance to study what has already been put in place, and that is the master plans. It's alluded to in our general plan from 2005. It's also intent and action steps are in our master plans, both the Parks, Trails, and Open Space from, I think that was either 2018, I believe 2018 or 2019, as well as the Bonneville Shoreline Trail adopted master plan from September of 2020. And that was again adopted by Mayor Peterson and 4 council members who were in office at that time. And I will just read that: recognizing the importance of providing safe, controlled, and appropriate access to trail amenities, the city has placed a renewed priority on beginning construction and implementation of the Bonneville Shoreline Trail within and adjacent to city limits. And so, I urge anyone who hasn't read it to read the really great documents that we already have in place as guiding principles related to our trails. And I also invite and urge everyone interested to come to a town hall meeting on April 25th. That's a Thursday evening, 6 to 8 p.m. Here in City Hall. We look forward to having that 2-hour period be very community oriented. And it's a chance to get your comments and or questions asked of the city staff, the elected officials, and we plan to have an ombudsman from the property rights office, state office, here to help also. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Burrell. One of my responsibilities as the mayor of Conwood Heights is to sit on the board for the Central Wasatch Commission. The Central Wasatch Commission is made up of other municipalities, Salt Lake City, Mill Creek, Sandy, Summit County. We also include in that the Salt Lake Metro Water, Salt Lake Utilities, and we include somebody from the Forestry Service. And the purpose of this Central Wasatch Commission is the environmental impacts, transportation, recreation of our mountains, of the Wasatch Front, from the Wasatch Front to all the way to the Wasatch back. And one of the things that I do is I chair a committee within the Central Wasatch Commission called the Short Terms Projects. And we have some funding available that we award to groups that come in that need help repairing trails, trailheads, some of the things that people love to do in the mountains. We replace and maintain the anchors for those that like to climb in the mountains. There are a multitude of things that this group can fund for. So we take applications, and then we have a 4-person committee that will look at all of the requests for money. And a couple of them this year were requests for shuttle systems to try to get people to trailheads without driving their car. And so we awarded some money to a couple of those groups. And I think it's a worthwhile endeavor to protect our mountains, our watersheds, the recreation that we all love to do in our mountains. And so it's been a fun opportunity for me to be involved in the Central Wasatch Commission. The last thing I'll say just real quickly is we are in the middle of budget season. And I also sit on the board for the Unified Fire Authority with 14 other municipalities or townships. I sit on the Salt Lake County Board of Health, and we are all looking as we went through our budget, first initial look at a budget today. It's amazing to me what inflation has done. Everything that a municipality does costs more than it did a couple years ago. And not just in personnel, everything that we buy, everything that we need to function costs more today than it did a couple of years ago. And it's actually really frustrating. But as we go through our budgetary process, I hope that our citizens will get involved and look at what the same things that we are looking at as a council. And as we make hard decisions on the allocation of funds, something that we take as serious as anything that we do as a member of the City Council of Conwood Heights. Thank you. So item number 4 on our agenda is a citizen comment period. We only have one comment card, so I'm going to forego the what I usually talk about because Mike is a regular and we like seeing Mike come up here. So Mike Falk, why don't you come up to the podium? Hi, Mike.
Hey, thanks for letting me speak. My name is Michael Falk. I've lived in Cottonwood Heights since 1976. What I'd like to talk a little bit about is the roundabout. The roundabout is a great addition, I think, to the city. It works, it does its job. But as good as it is for traffic, it's not quite so good for pedestrians. And the reason is the speed limits on Bengal at 35 coming in from the east and the west are just too high. Nobody's driving 35. Everybody's going 40, 45. So what that does is if there's nobody in the circle that you have to yield to, people do slow down from those speeds that they enter at, but they're still going way too fast. So if a pedestrian walks up and presses a button sometimes, and you can't hardly blame them because it takes sometimes 2 cars before they'll stop for the pedestrian. So I think what I would like to see is changing that speed limit on Bengal from 27th East. Is that what route it is? Is it routed on 27th all the way to Highland in both directions to 25 miles an hour? What?
If I may, only because Mike Falk is my dear friend, we will likely have some very good news for you. We are working very hard as a council to obtain the monies to redesign that exact area that you're talking about from 2700
Oh,
East to
that's
Highland.
great.
Bring the speed limit way down, right,
Wow.
Mayor? And make not only the roundabout safer, but the approach from either direction at a much, much slower, because we have the skate park, we have the middle school, we have the high
Right, I was
school, we
gonna
have,
say the
we're
same
trying to
thing, yeah.
develop the walkability for the restaurants and businesses there, so.
There's a lot going on Bengal Boulevard, you know, the high schools and the city hall and athletic fields, and then throw in Butlerville days. Hey, we were not inclusion on this, so that's a great, a great coincidence. So, and you know, I think the worst part of it is eastbound coming off Highland, because they have 2 lanes heading up that hill, and it immediately goes to 3 from the northbound Highland Drive. And then you have the entrance to the apartment complex, and everybody's in a race to get up to the top of the hill, and all of a sudden it's 20 miles an hour, you know. So go for a walk sometime at 5:30 in the evening along Bengal, and it's a racetrack. It's like the Indy 500. So I think in the idea of calming everything down, 25 miles would be a great idea. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I have to tell you, I sit in over here at City Hall in my office, and I look out and I see somebody push the what do we call the lights that we have? What are they? Yeah, what he said. And it frustrates me to no end to see cars that don't stop. And I wonder if we can do a better job with education in making sure that people understand they need to stop the second that they see those start flashing. And that's something that we will look at possibly in maybe doing an education campaign, because it frustrates me just looking out the window watching it. So thank you for your comments. Yes, and Tim, we'll turn some time over to you I think, put some comments on the record, right?
Yeah, there were 2 comments that were sent to the council that are part of the record. Mark Linford had concerns about some improvements in recreation in the park areas. And Leslie Rinaldi on concerns related to public access to trails. Those I'm entering into the record.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. And with that, I'll close our public comment period. The next item on our agenda is something that we haven't done before as a city, but in conjunction with our tree sale on Friday or Saturday and Sunday. If you don't know, the city is going to be selling 3 different types of trees at a discount, a big discount that you could buy them from anywhere else. And we're doing this because we received a grant. And so we're offering that to our citizens at first come, first serve. But what we've decided to do is a proclamation to celebrate Arbor Day in conjunction with selling trees, because we know how important trees are to our community. So let me just read this to you quickly. Whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, reduce heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for birds and wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, fuel for our fires, and wood for our homes, and countless other products. And whereas trees also increase urban property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify the community. And wherever they are planted, trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas to celebrate Arbor Day 2024, the City Council of the City of Cottonwood Heights desires to express its support for Arbor Day and the related activities planned to occur in the city, including a community tree sale event and the planting of 15 additional trees in Ferguson Park. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Cottonwood Heights and the city's manager that the city hereby recognizes Arbor Day on Friday, 26th of April, 2024, and urges all city residents to celebrate Arbor Day, to support efforts to protect the city's trees and woodlands, and to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of the city's current and future residents. Okay, we have 8 different legislative items to consider as a council this evening. We're going to start with item 6.1, consideration of ordinance 413, amending code chapter 2.30. We had the opportunity as a council earlier in our work session to discuss this item. Are there any other questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 413.
Motion to approve ordinance 413.
Second that.
We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Highland. Any other final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Item 6.2, consideration of ordinance 414, adopting an amended budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024. We have also had the opportunity to discuss this earlier in our work session, and we've had public hearings about this amendment as well. Is there any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 414, adopting an amended budget for fiscal year 2023-2024.
I will motion to adopt ordinance 414.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Item 6.3, consideration of ordinance 415, adopting a comprehensive emergency management plan. We also discussed this item earlier in our work session. Any other final questions or comments from the council?
I'd like to make a quick comment, and that is that a constituent who I met at a emergency management meeting in 2023 shared with me her enthusiasm and her ongoing commitment to emergency management. And she is very much looking forward to Cottonwood Heights even strengthening the existing emergency management system, because it is a collaboration between individuals in the community, church members from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the city staff and police department. So it's a project that's huge, and I'm really excited that we are, voting on this ordinance tonight and advancing the comprehensive emergency management plan. And with that, I will go ahead and motion to approve ordinance 415.
And I will second that.
We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell and a second from Councilmember Holton. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Item 6.4, consideration of resolution 2024-26, approving an independent contractor agreement for land use hearing officer services. We also had the opportunity to discuss this earlier. Any other questions from the council?
I will only make the comment that since this is related to the appeal, and has been lodged, related to the the planning commission's March 6th vote for the consolidation of the 3 lots, there at the entrance to Deaf Smith's Canyon, I will I will motion to approve resolution 2024-26, approving the independent attorney to help hear this land use appeal.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final questions. Call for the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Item 6.5, consideration of resolution 2024-27, approving an independent contractor agreement with Mott's Landscaping LLC for Mountain View Park landscaping services. We also discussed this earlier in our work session. Any other final questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve consideration of resolution 2024-27, approving an independent contractor agreement with Mott's Landscaping LLC for Mountain View Park landscaping services.
I will motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final questions. Call for the vote. Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton.
Yes.
I will vote. Item 6.5, consideration of resolution 2024-27, approving an independent contractor, consideration of resolution 2024-28, approving an interlocal agreement with Salt Lake County for track funding, TRCC funding. We also discussed this item earlier. Any other questions from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve consideration of resolution 2024-28, approving an interlocal agreement with Salt Lake County for track funding.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-28.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Burrell. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland.
Yes.
I will vote yes. Item 6.7, consideration of resolution 2024-29, consenting to reappointments to the Architectural Review Commission. We also discussed this item earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council?
I would like to really commend these 3 individuals. It's remarkable to me, the service that these professionals with high levels of expertise are willing to give to our city and to renew their commitment and be reappointed for another term. And so I would like to motion to pass resolution 2024-29.
Second.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Our last item of for legislative action this evening is item 6.8, which is consideration of resolution 2024-30, approving an agreement with Modern Display Service, Inc. for design and construction of a parade float. We also discussed this earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll motion. Oh, sorry.
2024-30, approving an agreement with Modern Display Service, Inc. for design and construction of a parade float.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2024-30 for the parade float.
I'll second that.
The motion to approve from Councilmember Highland and a second from Councilmember Holton. Final question. Call for the vote. Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Okay, the last item on our agenda for this evening is approval of the consent calendar, which are the minutes for the city council work session, CDRA work session, and business meeting for March 19th. We'll be approving the April 2nd minutes at another meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.